Okay, so you have successfully navigated the startup phase of your SaaS software business and are now in the growth or scale up stage. You've achieved some important revenue milestones, and now you're trying to press down on the accelerator and really grow your business exponentially. But along with that comes some challenges that weren't present in your startup phase. Some of the top reasons that scale up SaaS companies fail is because they bloat their tech stack prematurely and they hire too quickly and without the right type of sales training and pipeline management. In the next 5 minutes or so, I want to teach you how you can lower your spend and empower your sales force to ramp up your revenue and profitability for this next stage of your company's life. Okay, so who am I? My name is Dan Johns, and I'm the head of sales and sales operations for an award-winning SaaS company in the HR tech space. Over the past few years, I was able to slash spend by eliminating non-essential tools from the tech stack and replacing them with more efficient ones, and applied bespoke training to the sales team. It's not as hard as you might think, all of which resulted in over 100% annual growth every year for the last 5 years, while reducing costs by about 22%. And I'm going to show you how I did that. Reduce to grow. Sounds like an oxymoron, but it isn't, or at least it doesn't have to be. If you do these three things, reduce sales and marketing spend by making better choices, customize the training for your sales team, and implement some innovative prospecting strategies, you can set your company on a path to exponential growth within as little as 30 days. Okay, so first up, right-size your tech stack. A bloated tech stack is your enemy in a couple of ways. First is obviously cost. But even if you have the money to spend, the problem is you get your revenue generators, your sales force, spending their valuable time inside apps and not interacting with prospects. I have seen this happen. Tools that were well-intended to make the sales team more successful were actually just keeping them from their number one job. Find prospects who need their services and close them. So clean house. Focus your tech stack on the 1 or 2 key tools you need to enhance productivity without the diminishing returns of too many tools. What tools you use is up to you, but I do have some recommendations, so hit me up after this webinar if you want to hear more. Now, let's talk about developing your pipeline. Marketing strategies that work during your startup phase are simply not helpful at this point in your growth trajectory. Personal networking got you this far, but it's not scalable, and those industry conferences tend to be a real waste of time for smaller scale-up companies. What you need is 1 or maybe a couple of tools to help you identify companies that fit your ICP or ideal customer profile. There are tools out there that can tell you exactly the companies that are looking for a solution to the problem that your company solves. You find those tools and get rid of everything else. They're just a distraction. Okay, onto your sales force. You may already favor one sales methodology over the others, whether that's spin or gap selling or the challenger sale or medic. Or maybe you've correctly figured out that in most cases, a combination of the principles found in these methodologies is what is needed to successfully create a sales process and close deals. But how you communicate those principles is really the key, and it's not one size fits all. I typically see CEOs or heads of sales, if they have one, try and teach every sales rep the exact same way when studies show that each individual learns differently. So what? Am I telling you you have to create a separate training course for each sales rep? No. Fortunately, you don't have to do that. Now that we live in the age of AI, there are tools at your disposal that can train your sales force in real time based on the sales methodology or combination of sales methodologies that you think works best for your company. And you can also utilize psychometrics or personality tests to augment your sales training. Now, will you turn your C and D players into A players? Not likely. But you can turn those C players into B players, and the B players into A players, and even A players into A plus players. And you'll find that you will significantly reduce the time and cost of your sales training and create a happier, more engaged workforce. All right, moving on. Now that you have your tech stack right-sized and your sales team motivated and set up with the tools for success, it's time to start thinking innovatively about how to generate your pipeline. We've already talked about some tech tools that can help with that, but there are other low-tech strategies that you can implement as well. For example, one strategy that I found works particularly well is to partner with the portfolio services team of venture capital or private equity firms that have portfolio companies within your ICP. Many of these firms have dedicated teams that work to support their portfolio companies with introductions to vendors, service providers, etc. Reach out to these people, explain your offering, and ask about the process for introducing vendors. They will be, or should be, happy to hear from you. It is their job to expose their portfolio companies to tools that will help them. Remember, VC and PE firms want their portfolio companies to thrive. And if they see that you have a product or service that adds value and can make that happen, they'll be your biggest advocates. Now, this is just one example, but there are other highly scalable, highly effective, low or no cost strategies that you can leverage to scale your business. Okay, to recap, if you implement the strategies that I've laid out here, you will reduce spend by paring down to the most essential tech tools. You will make your sales team and sales leaders more efficient and productive. And you will implement strategies that will grow your sales pipeline quickly and significantly. You want more information? Do you want to hear more about how I did this at my company and how you can do it at yours? Let's talk about implementation, some more strategies. Let's get granular on the details on how this stuff works so it will make sense for your organization. You can reach out to me at 310-279-9775 or via email at danjohns@gmail.com. Thank you so much.